All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, welcome. My name is Allison Beebe. I am one of the freshman admissions advisors at SUNY Plattsburgh. I'm so glad you could all join us today. I hope the end of your school years are going well as you're wrapping up with what for a lot of us has been the first year of virtual learning and lots of new things. So I hope you're getting ready to enjoy a wonderful summer. During the presentation today, we're going to encourage you all to ask lots of questions. I assume that's why most of you are joining us, so we want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered. If you would take a minute right now to locate where the chat feature is on Zoom, if you're not familiar, there's a little chat icon. We're able to see anything that you type into that chat feature. So if you have a question, please let us know. Also, if you're having any sort of technical issues, please type in and let me know, and we'll do our best to help you alleviate those tech issues as we go throughout the presentation today. As you will see, I am joined with one of our current students here today, luckily, to also help answer some of your questions. So before we really take off and get into the presentation, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, Dakota. If you could say where you're from, your major, all that good stuff.
Of course. My name is Dakota. I'm going into my junior year at Plattsburgh. I'm a social work major with a minor in photography, and I am from Niskayuna, New York, right near Albany.
Awesome. So to give you all kind of an idea of what to expect from the next little bit of time that we're going to spend together today, we're going to go through an admissions presentation. That's going to take us probably about 45 minutes or so. And then I am totally going to hand everything over to Dakota, and he's going to take you on a full 360-degree tour around campus. It's the next best thing to being here in person. So it's a lot of fun. So make sure you stick around for that as well. Like I mentioned before too, make sure you're asking any questions that you have throughout the presentation. We're going to make a couple of different stops to answer all those questions between myself and Dakota, depending on who is best equipped to answer those questions for you. So make sure you're sending those over to us because we want to make sure that we get them all answered. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So some fast facts about SUNY Plattsburgh, just to kind of get us started. So some things you may not know. SUNY Plattsburgh was actually founded in 1889 as a teacher's college. So what that means is the only major we offered was education. So if I have any of you in the audience today, if they're interested in studying education, you'd like to be a teacher one day, know that we've got the education major pretty much figured out as far as you can have it figured out. We've been doing this for a very long time. We also have grown quite a bit as a campus since then. So we offer over 70 different majors now for students to choose from. We have about a 300-acre campus with 36 different buildings that we utilize. And we also are considered what's called a mid-sized school. So we have about just shy of 5,000 students for our undergraduate program. And then we've got about 380 graduate students hanging around our campus as well. So lots of fun things going on. We also have a pretty diverse student body here on campus. Our freshman class from this past year came from 32 different states in 66 different countries, which is something that we are very proud of. And speaking of which, it looks like our other fellow student has just been able to sign on. We were having some technical difficulties, as I'm sure you're all very familiar with now. So I'll take a moment before we go any further and have Naomi introduce herself.
Hi everyone, jumping from meetings to meetings has become a struggle, but I'm happy I could be here. My name is Naomi. I'm an international student. I'm a sophomore at SUNY Plattsburgh. I'm from Ethiopia, if you all know where that is, in East Africa. So yeah, that's a few things about me. I hope we'll get to know each other better in the next hour, and you can ask me like any questions you want.
Awesome. Thanks, Naomi. Glad you were able to join us. All right, so for the rest of the presentation for all of you viewing from home today, we really want to focus on you. Like I mentioned before, you're probably joining us today because you have some questions. Maybe there's a really specific major that we offer on our campus that you're interested in and you're just looking to get some more information. Maybe SUNY Plattsburgh's quite a distance away from home for you and you kind of want to just get a feel if you'll be comfortable going 5, 6, 7 hours away from home and living on campus for the first time. Maybe you're thinking about being a student athlete and you want to see what Plattsburgh Cardinal sports is all about, which is very exciting. Whatever it is, we'll make sure that we get those questions answered for you. I did notice we just had a couple of new attendees join us. So for those just jumping in, make sure that you're asking any questions that you have throughout the presentation right in that chat feature, and we'll be stopping to answer those for you along the way. So one of the very first things that you're going to experience as a SUNY Plattsburgh accepted student is orientation. So if any of you are accepted students for fall of 2020, it's going to happen virtually this year, but it's going to be incorporating all the same things that would normally be happening on campus. So normally what happens during orientation is you get to meet friends, you're meeting with your incoming freshman class, which you will still be able to do in a virtual format. You're going to meet with faculty, you're going to register for classes for the first time. It's really to sort of give you a good first glimpse of what your time at SUNY Plattsburgh is going to look like. Now, Naomi, I'll call on you since we were lucky enough to have you here. I'll throw you the first question. You went to orientation not terribly long ago. What was one of your favorite experiences at orientation?
That's a hard one. I loved my orientation. I was part of the Spring International Orientation, which has like very few students. So I think one of my really like favorite parts of that was every like at the end of every orientation day, we would usually go for dinner at a church or a community center somewhere. And that was like pretty welcoming because I'm like, what kind of college has their community as like basically like making homemade dinner for their college students. So I was like, wow, like this is interesting. That I was from the city and I haven't quite experienced something like that before. So I was like, okay, this is really interesting. This is really fun. But yeah, each orientation has its special thing that stays with a student, like that's special for them. And I think each orientation is kind of made up of those things.
Awesome, thank you. So after orientation is done, about a month later, you're going to find yourself on campus to start your very first semester as a college student. Things start moving pretty quickly. So what you should expect from your first semester on campus. One of the biggest and most exciting things is you're moving into the dorms for the very first time, which can be very exciting and also a little scary. So I'm here to help ease any worries that we have about moving on to campus. So SUNY Plattsburgh has 12 residence halls. 3 of them are specifically designed for incoming freshmen. Some of the cool things about the freshman residence halls, first of all, is that they are thematic based. What that means is every single floor has a very specific theme that's been assigned to it. And when you're filling out your housing form, you actually get to choose between some of these themes. So some examples from this last year, we had an outdoor adventure floor, a leadership and service for those that were really interested in volunteer work and growing their leadership skills. We had a floor for sports, one for entertainment, one for sort of arts and theater and creativity. There was a floor that was focused around travel and world exploration. There are tons of different options for students to choose from. That's certainly not the whole list. So when you're filling out that housing form, you'll pick one of those themes that's available for your first semester. And then every single person on your floor is going to have also selected that theme. So it gives you some nice common ground and some brand new friends right from day one. The other really great thing is you're going to meet your community advocate. Now this is very similar to an RA, which might be a term you're more familiar with. Going to be an upperclassman student that lives right on your floor with you. They are first of all there to design all sorts of fun programs for you and your fellow floor mates to participate in. Sometimes it's a movie night or a field trip, or we're all going to have dinner together or do a craft, do karaoke, whatever it is. They are there to make sure you're all having fun and becoming a community and getting to know each other. That person is also there if you're having any issues. So if you're having trouble with a roommate, maybe you've just had a really stressful day and you need somebody to vent to and to talk about those issues, that's what that person is there for. So it's another added layer of support that we have, especially in freshman housing, but you'll have a community advocate all the way up until graduation that you can build that relationship with. So selecting a roommate or being assigned a roommate is generally another point of concern or something that people worry about. So there's a couple different ways that you can go about doing that. Everyone will fill out a housing survey regardless of whether you know who your roommate's going to be ahead of time or not. So if you have no idea of anyone that lives on campus, you don't have a roommate picked out, you'll have filled out that housing survey, which is going to ask you all sorts of questions you didn't even know you could answer about yourself. It's kind of like a BuzzFeed quiz. It's pretty fun. So it's going to ask you when you wake up, when you go to bed, if you're clean or messy. If you're not sure, ask mom and dad. They generally are more than happy to let you know if you're a clean or messy person. all sorts of different questions that they'll ask. And then we will select a roommate that has similar interests and is going to be a good fit for that room environment that you're looking for, and we'll pair you together, and it's super simple. You will know who that person is going to be at least a month before you move in together, so you can find each other on Facebook, decide who's bringing the mini fridge, all that good stuff. If you already know someone that is either on campus already or someone who's also going to be a freshman, you can both just select to be each other's roommate on that housing form, and then it's all said and done, and it's that easy. So it really is a process that's designed to take all of the concern and worry out of things and make the transition exciting and as easy as possible. So during that first week on campus, you're generally not going to have much work to do. We refer to it as syllabus week as well. You're going to meet all your professors, get to know where your classrooms are. They're going to give you a syllabus of what to expect, but you're not going to have many assignments generally. So this is a really good time to get out and explore Plattsburgh. So what you can expect in Plattsburgh, there's two main areas off campus that our students take advantage of. If you walk about 5 minutes down the road, really pretty much right next door to us, we have downtown Plattsburgh. This is where you want to have lunch. This is where the best restaurants in town are. So if you are a mac and cheese fan, the student favorite is a restaurant called Our House Bistro. They have 28 kinds of mac and cheese, so you can't go wrong if you love mac and cheese. We also have Himalayan food, Greek food, there's sushi. We have a place called Hobie's, which has awesome burgers, wings, and pizza. So there's really something for everyone downtown. There's also some great local shops. We have a farmer's market. We have the Saranac River that runs through downtown, so you can take the bike path or go for a walk or a run if that's something that you're interested in. A lot of great things to do and a great way to get off campus with your new friends and just go explore. Now, if you're anything like me, you're also going to want to check out Uptown Plattsburgh, which is our commercial space. I was notorious for forgetting at least 10 to 15 things I needed for my dorm room, so that's where you want to go to find those. We have 3 main shopping plazas uptown. You're going to find a Walmart plaza that also has a Chipotle, Five Guys, Staples, Michaels, all that good stuff. Next door to that plaza, we have a Market 32 plaza. That's our big grocery store in town. It also has a Starbucks. It's fantastic. There's a Planet Fitness and a Lowe's and a couple other things over in that second plaza as well. If you hop right across the street, we do have a mall, which is very exciting. That's got a Dick's Sporting Goods, American Eagle. We just got a Kohl's. There's a Target, all sorts of good things going on there. So if you forgot anything or you just want to go get some shopping done, you can head to Uptown Plattsburgh, and that's maybe a 5 to 10 minute drive up the road. It's also pretty close. As far as how to get to all of these places, we do have a student shuttle, so you're more than welcome to bring a car with you as a freshman, but if you don't, you can always hop on that student shuttle. Totally free for students to use, and it'll take you both uptown and downtown Plattsburgh. So once that first week is done, you're really going to be into the full swing of your first semester of college. So what should we expect from that very first semester? So primarily you're going to be taking general education courses. So you should also be planning to take about 5 classes during your first semester. If you have selected a major, we will put you in at least one class that directly correlates with the major that you've chosen. I always like to use my nursing students as an example here. If you are going to be a nurse and we don't let you see blood till your senior year and you pass out, that's probably not a great plan. Same goes for any major on campus. We want to make sure that when you get into those hands-on learning experiences, it's exactly the fantastic program that you thought it was going to be, and it's just as good of a fit as it was on paper when you were reading about it earlier on. So we're going to put you into any of your major specific classes your very first semester, and then some general education classes as well, and that's the same for all students. You also may want to participate in the honors program. This is generally offered to any freshmen that are coming in with an A average. So the honors program will fulfill all your general education requirements, but in a little bit of a different way. First of all, the honors classes are capped at 15 students, and they're set up in kind of a roundtable discussion-based format. So if you are someone that does better in a debate type class than in a lecture type class, the honors program might be a very good fit for you. Because they're smaller numbers as well, they have access to some really unique and pretty fun classes. Some of the fan favorites from the last couple of semesters, there was a Harry Potter course. They did a comparison from Hogwarts to modern day society, which was pretty cool. There was also a Salem Witch Trials course, and they actually got to go to Salem, Massachusetts at the end of the semester with their whole class, which was pretty fun too. So there's lots of different options to choose from, and those classes are changing every semester, so you always have different options. Second half of the honors program, you are essentially doing graduate work at the undergraduate level. So you'll actually come up with your own thesis and you'll present right before graduation. So just something to keep in mind if that might be interesting to you. You're also going to have a ton of support your very first semester, and that's going to continue right on through graduation as well. First of all, every single class you take on campus, no matter what major you are, it's going to be taught by a professor, never a teaching assistant. We do have teaching assistants on campus and they are fantastic, but we don't allow them to teach classes. They're going to be collecting assignments, they might be taking attendance, but you're always going to learn directly from your professor. Professors are also all mandated to have office hours. So these are set times throughout the week that you are made aware of, where your professor will be sitting in his or her office. You can walk in, ask questions, just say hello, have a cup of coffee, all of that good stuff. You're going to get to know your professors really well by the time you graduate. Our class sizes are pretty small. We only have about 22 students in a class, and our student to teacher ratio is only 16:1. So it's probably for some of you even smaller than what you were used to in high school. So you're going to have really great relationships with these people over the course of your four or 5 years here, depending on what program that you are exploring. So I'm going to call on some of our current students because I've been doing lots of talking and we want to hear them do some talking. So Dakota, I'm going to go ahead and call on you. Who has been one of your favorite professors from especially your general education classes, and why were they your favorite?
The first person that comes to mind is an English professor I had. His name's Richard Aberly. I just had him in a couple, like in an elective English class, and I don't know what specifically made me like him, but he just seemed really easy to talk to, and he was really the first professor I think I connected with like outside of class. And I ended up taking 2 more of his classes in the next couple of semesters. So yeah, like one thing that I really love about Plattsburgh is you're with your professors, like they always truly care. You're never just like a number on a piece of paper. They're gonna know your names by like the 2nd or 3rd week. And like if you ever have a concern and want to talk to them, like they always want you to talk. Like they always are there to help and genuinely care about the students. Other than that, I mean, I've had a ton of great professors, both in and out of my major, that have like inspired me to become a photography minor, for instance, and stuff like that. So you're going to find great professors in whatever program you end up in here.
Awesome. Thanks, Dakota. One other thing I'll mention that's a really great support option for our freshmen their first year is our Learning Center. So this is our student-run tutoring center on campus. A lot of times that transition from high school to college that first semester can be a little tricky. So if you're looking for some extra help in those first couple classes that you're taking, you can always stop into the Learning Center. It's free to use any of their services. You can set up an appointment ahead of time, whatever works best for you. And on the flip side of that, if you do very well in your classes your first couple of semesters, you might be asked to become a student tutor, and that's a paid job for our students on campus as well. So it's just a great opportunity. All right, so let's talk a little bit about declaring a major. I mentioned earlier that we have over 70 majors for students to choose from. That's a lot. So we've split them up into 3 different schools to make everything a little bit easier to digest. The very first school is actually our largest school. It's the School of Arts and Sciences, and it's actually split into 3 subcategories as well. The very first one of these categories is focused around the arts. So we have a really extensive art program here on campus. We're actually considered even a museum without walls. So once campus is reopened again and you're able to come and join us here and we're able to get back on campus to enjoy it, you'll be able to see artwork all over campus. We have large sculptures outside of all of our buildings, and just about every single room and classroom on campus has artwork displayed. Some of this is from current or past students, and some is from famous artists that we've been able to curate work from over the years. So that's something we are very proud of. We also have a pretty extensive theater program on campus as well. They put on all sorts of different plays and musicals throughout the year. So it's a great opportunity for our students to get involved on campus, whether they're participating in the theater minor or they are just have a hobby of participating in theater, they can get involved that way as well. We do have 2 music majors, so it gives you the option of whether you are someone who wants to perform music or if you want to be on the music business side of the industry. So lots of great opportunities there too. The second portion of our arts and sciences school really focuses on the social sciences. So these are going to be things like sociology, criminal justice, psychology. These majors play really well together also. So a lot of our students will double major within the social sciences, and they find that it's pretty easy to do and still graduate within 4 years. Last but not least, within the arts and sciences, we have what are called our hard sciences. So that's going to be your biology, your chemistry, biochemistry, which is exactly what it sounds like. You learn both biology and chemistry. That's really great for students that are looking to go into forensics. I highly recommend checking that program out. So lots of great things going on in this very first school. Our second school is the School of Education, Health, and Human Services, and these are our more pre-professional programs. They're really designed to get you right out into the field once you've graduated from SUNY Plattsburgh. I mentioned earlier that education was a big one for us, and that is absolutely true. We also have a 5-year master's program for both adolescent and early childhood education on our campus. This is going to get students their master's 1 year sooner, saves you lots of time and money, which we love. Also gives them the option to have over 400 hours of time in the classroom before they even student teach, and they have a say in where they student teach as well, which is not something you're going to find very often. Our nursing program is pretty intense on campus. It has a 100% job placement rate, but it's also one of the smallest programs we offer and caps around 50 to 60 students every single year. Definitely the most competitive program that we offer on campus. Some great things about that nursing program, though, we are located right across the street from Champlain Valley Physicians Hospital. It's the largest hospital north of Albany in New York State, and that's where our nurses do their clinicals. So you don't ever have to worry about driving to clinicals, you're one crosswalk away. Also, right here on our campus, we have a really extensive nursing skills lab. You'll actually see this later on when we go on the tour. But it's full of life-size mannequins that can do everything that real humans can do. Our nursing students can draw their blood. These mannequins can give birth. They have a conversation with you. They're really pretty amazing. So lots of great uses for those on campus, of course. So we have some more unique programs moving through this through this school rather as well. Fitness and wellness leadership, that's for anyone that maybe wants to own a gym or a fitness facility or work in a medical fitness facility in a hospital in some way. I'm going to throw this one over to Dakota, who's part of our social work program within this school. Dakota, can you talk a little bit about what makes our social work program unique?
Yeah, so one thing that I think a lot of people are often concerned about, but I actually really liked, was that the major doesn't start into your junior year, because it gives you time to focus on other things. It gives you time to like add a minor or maybe even add a second major in some cases. And then it just sort of, and it's not like you're going all that time without taking classes related to social work. So you still know that you're on the right path, but it gives you that sort of leeway. And then once you are in the social work program, it's extremely heavy. And there's a internship built into the program. And the program is actually set up so that you can receive your master's in just one additional year at another university. So with all those things considered, I'm really happy in our social work program and excited moving forward.
Thanks, Dakota. So let's jump into our very last school, which is the School of Business and Economics. This was my school while I was here, so they're all fantastic, but I have a little bit of a bias and a special place in my heart for this particular school. So in the School of Business and Economics, we have 12 majors. Every single one of them is internationally accredited by the AACSB. That is the highest level of accreditation that a business or economics program can earn. So that's a huge resume booster for you right off the bat. We have some pretty unique programs within the school as well. Hospitality management is for anyone that may want to go into the hotel, restaurant, or tourism industry later on. We do have an international business program that works really well for us based on where we're located. We're very close to the Canadian border, only about a half an hour away. So there in the past have been classes that are taught in Canada or internships that can be done in Canada. So it's really nice to have that relationship so close to our campus. We do have programs like global supply chain management as well that have a 100% job placement rate, and they're all about getting goods from point A to point B faster and more effectively than all of your competitors. So some pretty unique programs that we've got going on here. I'm going to call on Naomi for this one. Naomi, you've got a couple different majors going on, or one major and a couple minors, if I remember correctly, going on within this school. Can you talk a little bit about what it is that you're studying right now?
Sure. So when I got started, I got started with the international business major. It was my major when I came here. But even before I came, I took out a list of all the classes that you have to take for the major and everything, and decided that I wanted to add marketing and business administration. So once I got here, um, I told my advisor, oh, I wanted these classes. And later on, during my second semester, during sophomore year, some of the requirements for classes changed, and I was able to actually add more minors by taking less classes. So that was why I went ahead and added like my MIS minor and global supply chain minor. That was ever a part of the plan. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think our school is trying to make it easier and easier for us to, be more well-rounded and have more minors and just be open to taking things like that. Especially School of Business. I think I know people who graduated with 4 and 3 majors. I know several people who did that. If that's something you're interested in, our School of Business is definitely a good something to do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Naomi. Yes, our students do find that the School of Business and Economics is the easiest to double or even triple major and still graduate in 4 years. The main reason for that is the core of all 12 of those majors are the exact same business classes. So sometimes it's as easy as Naomi said, adding a couple more classes and then you've completed an entire major or minor without even really realizing that you maybe did that. So if you're looking to mix and match any of these programs, that's definitely something that's very easy to do. So let's talk about getting involved on campus. Obviously, the main reason that you're coming to college is for your education, and we totally get that, but we want you to get involved and have some fun while you're here. So currently we have over 100 clubs and organizations in place on campus, which is a lot. We also allow our students the opportunity to create their own clubs. So if you're looking through the clubs that we have listed online and you're not seeing something that you wish you saw, maybe there's something you participated in high school that you're really passionate about, know that when you get to campus, you'll have the opportunity to create that club as well with our student association. So some of the clubs that we currently have in place, a lot of them are academic based. So if you're looking for some more exposure to the field that you're studying, you want to spend some more time with your classmates, that's a really good way to go about doing that. It also opens up a lot of excellent networking opportunities, and that's going to help you with job placement down the line. We have some pretty fantastic sports programs, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, but some of the most unique and most fun, arguably, clubs are in our recreational club section. This is pretty much anything you could ever imagine. So we've got a ukulele club, there's a hula hoop troupe, there's theater, a cappella, there is Humans versus Zombies, Dungeons and Dragons, Harry Potter, photography, really anything that you could think of, we have developed some form of a club for here on campus. So there's lots to get involved with. When you get to campus, at the beginning of every single semester, there is a club and organizational fair. So you get to meet with the people that are already participating in those clubs and organizations, get a little bit more information, and then get signed up for something that sounds good to you. So Naomi, I'm going to call on you again for this one. You're really pretty involved on campus. Can you talk about one or two of the things that you participate in?
So like you just mentioned, there are a lot of clubs and organizations under the student association. I've been a part of a couple of clubs. My first semester, I came in and decided to become the PR coordinator for one of our campus clubs called South Asian Student Association. And I got in here and there with several clubs, they all had really interesting events and things to attend. Later on, I joined the student association, which is the student government here on our campus. So that was really interesting. Also, PSTV, which is Plattsburgh State Television, televised around all of Plattsburgh and Vermont. That was really interesting. So my first semester, I decided to audition for a show on there and got involved with that. So it's just a variety of completely unrelated things that I've been a part of. But if that's something you're into, I think there's something for everybody when it comes to getting involved.
Awesome. And you've heard Naomi and I mention a couple of different states and different countries that we utilize now. So I'll mention that as well. We are obviously very close to Canada, and Montreal is a favorite spot of our students to go and hang out. It's about an hour away from campus. If you are someone that really likes food, this is the place you need to stop before your graduation, for sure. There are some excellent, excellent restaurants in Old Montreal. There is also a very large amphitheater in Montreal. It's called the Centre Bell. So if you are someone that really enjoys going to concerts, to comedy shows, this is a really great way to do that. You can find some very inexpensive tickets, and it's just a quick hour drive up through Canada to get there. So we've seen some really big names in music come through. We've seen Shawn Mendes, Taylor Swift. I was supposed to see Bon Jovi there before the pandemic hit, but he'll come back. It's okay. So there's lots of fun things that you can do right over the border in Montreal. All you need is either your passport, or if you're a New York State resident, you can get an enhanced ID and take that over with you. We're also very close to Vermont. There's actually a ferry that goes right from Plattsburgh to Grand Isle, Vermont. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it's like $10 now to get across the ferry, and students get discounted tickets as well. You can walk on the ferry, or you can drive your car on, and then you can explore Burlington when you get over into Vermont. Burlington has a large outdoor marketplace called Church Street. They have fairs and festivals in the street. They're all blocked off, so cars can't drive through there. They have pretty much all the stores that we don't have. So if you're someone that just enjoys shopping, that's a good place to do that. And they also have some really fantastic restaurants. I am a foodie, if you couldn't tell. So food determines where I'm going to travel. So highly recommend checking that out for lunch too. It's a great way to spend an afternoon. We're also very close to Lake Placid, which is where the 1980 Winter Olympics were held. We have a really extensive skiing and snowboarding club on campus, and we also offer season lift tickets to all of our students. So if you're someone that's interested in skiing and snowboarding, you're going to want to check that out. It's only about a 45-minute to an hour drive from campus to get up to Lake Placid. That's where Whiteface Mountain is. It's also a lot of fun to just explore all of the Olympic centers. You can go bobsledding, kind of check out all of the grounds there. It's a lot of fun. So highly recommend. All right, let's talk about Cardinal Sports. This is a big one for us. So we are a Division III school. We have 18 Division III teams for students to choose from. Our track and field team is awesome. They had a freshman go all the way to the national level last year, which is unheard of. Hockey's our big one. If you haven't heard, we're really into hockey here. So our men's team brings in about 1,300 spectators every single game. And we have the most decorated NCAA championship women's ice hockey team in the history of forever. They are fantastic. Those games are definitely something that you don't want to miss while you're here. We also have a pretty extensive fitness center, and it's undergoing a little bit of a facelift right now too. So it's already 3 stories high. We have a rock wall. There is a pretty extensive gym with some weightlifting equipment. If you're someone that prefers to attend some sort of a fitness class, whether it be Zumba, spin, yoga, anything along those lines, we offer that to our students as well. There's a really packed calendar. They run all semester long, and they're free to all students to use. Our entire fitness facility is free to all of our students. So it's just going to get bigger and better. So keep an eye out on updates for that, because it's going to be pretty awesome by the time it's done and everyone's back on campus. So Dakota, I'm going to call this over to you. Dakota actually takes a lot of really awesome photos at our sporting events. Can you talk a little bit about what the atmosphere is like when you go to especially a hockey game at SUNY Plattsburgh?
Yeah, like as you said, the hockey games are definitely the most highly attended and most intense sporting events on campus, as well as the basketball games. Those always draw big crowds, and all sporting events on campus are free for students to attend. So yeah, definitely just check it out. There's always stuff going on, whether it's soccer in the spring, or soccer in the fall rather, or baseball and lacrosse in the spring. Or it's definitely a great way to show your Plattsburgh pride and cheer on your fellow classmates and fellow students.
Awesome. Thanks, Dakota. And if you are looking to participate in a sport, but maybe not on the Division III level, we do have club and intramural sports that are going to be a great fit for you as well. We have a pretty long list. There's about 30 of them going on right now. Intramural sports are really that pickup style. You get a team together, you make your own t-shirts, and you play indoor soccer on a Wednesday night. Club sports, aside from cheerleading, do still have the ability to travel and compete against other schools on more of a local level. So whatever level you're looking to participate, you'll find that here. All right, so at this point, we're going to open things up to some questions for our current students. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Dakota, Naomi, or myself, please type those into the chat and we can get those answered for you. I'll give you just a second to send any last minute questions in here. Okay. So Dakota, I'm going to give this one to you. Can you talk a little bit about the weather in Plattsburgh?
Yeah, so it's I mean it's upstate New York. It's definitely cold up there, up in Plattsburgh, but it's not that much colder than anywhere else in New York. I know most of our student bodies from different parts of the state, whether it's Long Island or the Albany area or the city. It's definitely, I would say the biggest thing that'll get you is the wind. We're north of the Adirondacks, so it really just cleans through, but it's really not as bad as a lot of people tend to, I guess, build it up to be. In during like the early or during most of the fall semester and the second half of the spring semester, it's really beautiful. You'll actually, one of the most forgotten things I'd say when people come up is they forget to bring a fan because it's actually quite toasty in the dorms during those September and October months. Definitely bring a fan because you're going to need it, and then bring a coat because that'll also be necessary. But they're really good about keeping the streets clean of snow and everything like that too. So it's definitely not something to worry too much about.
Awesome. Thanks, Dakota. Yeah, we really have a true four seasons here. So you're going to see it all. Pack all of the clothes and for all of the climates because we're going to experience them while you're here. It's one of the fun things about living in the North Country. So Naomi, I'm going to pass this one over to you. This is actually a question I get quite a bit. Do students stay on campus over the weekends? What are they doing? Are they exploring town? What's going on the weekends?
My favorite question. I love going out on the weekends. I never stay in. But yeah, pretty much. So like, like you said, like there's a lot of destinations around here, and it's so easy to go to them. Like it would just be missing out if you didn't. As soon as I came here, I got my visa and went to Montreal several times. I went to Burlington, I think my first semester, and also like Lake Placid and everything. So there's a lot of places to go to, and it's normal for students to go to them because like the student association has like $5 trips that will take you all the way to Burlington and back, like all the way to Lake Placid and back. They have like these things every semester. Clubs and organizations have their own thing where they go and come back too. But mainly, what do we do on the weekends? I think a lot of people like to go downtown. People who are like of age, kind of like there are like different places they can go to downtown, and also there are like different types of like restaurants, coffee shops, bookstores, like great places that they can go to. Also at the same time, there are usually like events. So one club would have something like a Japanese food buffet day, or African Unity might do something like a fashion show. So like it's very rare that there isn't something to do on the weekends. Like it's extremely rare. I say this because I try to like get some rest on the weekends, but between what me and my friends want to do, like it's just like rare that we end up not doing anything.
Awesome. Thanks, Naomi. All right, so we're going to jump back into things, but if you have any other questions, we're going to stop again in a little bit to get those answered. So make sure you're typing those into the chat so we can see them. Up until this point, we've really focused on what your freshman year is going to look like, but you're going to be with us for a couple years beyond that point. So let's take a look at what to expect from your sophomore year and beyond. So we talked a little bit about this already because I have two fantastic students with me that want to study all of the things, but it's pretty common on campus for students to add a second major or a major and a minor and really sort of customize their educational track. One of the main reasons for this is students are just trying to make themselves as marketable as possible to a future employer and really build up that resume. Another thing is you're just trying to get the most bang for your buck while you're here. It doesn't cost you extra to declare an additional major or minor. As much as you can study while you're here, we encourage you to do so. So some common combinations of programs you'll see up here on the screen. Marketing and graphic design is very popular, especially for students that want to go into advertising. This is not only going to give you the marketing background to know what to put in an advertisement on Instagram, but it's going to give you the graphic design background to be able to make that beautiful advertisement all on your own. So that's going to make you extremely marketable to someone who's looking to hire someone in advertising later on. Psychology and social work, another popular combination. Again, these are both within our social sciences. So similar to the School of Business and Economics, these kind of these kind of majors are going to have the same core classes, so they're also very easy to mix and match. Political science and criminal justice, same sort of thing, and computer science and physics are going to play well together also. If you're interested in physics, it's all being done on the computer these days, so you need to have that background in computer science to really kind of keep up with what's going on in the industry. Now, a lot of times students are adding majors or minors that might not seem like they directly correlate with the program that they started with. And a lot of times this is because they've just chosen to add a minor that's interesting to them. One example of this would be maybe you've played the clarinet your whole life. Since you could pick up a clarinet, you've been playing the clarinet, but you really want to pursue criminal justice when you come to college. You might not be ready to give up your music yet, and that's fine. You can pursue a music minor and still have that in your life, still keep working on your skills, but at the end of the day, be able to pursue the career in criminal justice that you were looking for when you graduate from college. So I'm gonna actually throw this one over to Dakota. Dakota, your major and minor don't necessarily seem like they fit together to the naked eye. Can you explain kind of why you chose both of those programs and how's your workload?
Yeah, so very similarly to the situation that you sort of just described with the clarinet, photography is just something that I've always cared about, and I wanted to continue on to some degree. And it wasn't until my sophomore year that I actually decided to add the minor, but even doing it that late, because I was given an advisor within my minor who was just there to make sure I was getting those classes ready, I was able to set up my schedule so I'm still getting all of those requirements before my workload and social work becomes too heavy. So there's really a lot of opportunities to add those minors that you might have an interest in, or if they're connected to your major. And I would definitely just recommend getting it as early as possible because it'll definitely give you more time to expand upon them. But usually something can be worked out to fit it in there.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about experiential learning. So what experiential learning is all of those hands-on learning experiences that we want you to have before you graduate. We talked a little bit about nursing clinicals already. This is the #1 big, exciting hands-on learning experiences for our nursing students. They get to go into the hospital, they're working with patients, and they're doing their clinical rotations that they need in order to be certified for their nursing exams when they are ready to graduate from Plattsburgh. So as I mentioned earlier as well, the hospital is right across the street from us. Not only is that important for our nursing students, but just some peace of mind for the rest of our students as well. Should you ever, God forbid, need a hospital, you can see it from campus. So feel secure in that it is right there. We've also mentioned a little bit of the TV and radio stations that we offer on campus. This falls into our communication studies department. So we've got some pretty exciting things going on. You'll see on the screen there's Due North and Cardinal Points. These are our student-run magazine and newspaper that circulate around campus. Every article, every photo is all produced by our students, and not only do they circulate around campus, but actually out into the local community as well. Our magazine was also the in-flight air magazine for Pen Air Airlines, so anytime anyone was on a Pen Air Airlines flight, they were looking at our students' work, which is pretty cool. We also do offer a TV station on campus and 2 radio stations as well. So if you're interested in broadcasting, in news, in anything to that realm, maybe you want to, like Naomi did, do kind of just a fun thing and get onto the TV station for one of the different types of programs that they offer. You don't have to ever be involved in the communications department directly to participate in the radio and TV stations. They're pulling in students from all different majors. So it's a lot of fun to get involved in something like that. For our science-based students, we also have some pretty awesome opportunities for you. We have a partnership with what's called Minor Farm Institute, which is an agricultural institute about 15 minutes up the road in Shazy, New York. They give our students access to a lot of their facilities. So they're doing different internships and projects during their undergraduate degree, which generally undergraduate students wouldn't have access to. The same thing is true with the Lake Champlain Research Institute. So Lake Champlain is one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. It's also in our backyard. You can see it from campus. So the Lake Champlain Research Institute will take our students out on the lake. They're taking water samples, they're studying the life in the lake. They have a big $40,000 radar gun they take out in the boat. Makes me a little nervous, but they're doing all sorts of different studies with that as well. So again, not something usually undergraduate students have opportunities to research, working with an established institute or organization like that, but our students do. So if you're interested in that, know that that will be available to you here. So landing an internship. This is the ultimate in experiential learning opportunities. A lot of our programs on campus have internships built right into the program, and some don't, but we encourage all students to pursue an internship in one form or another. We do have an excellent office on campus. They're called the Career Development Center. They will help you with your internship no matter what major you're in. So we really encourage students to get a little creative. Maybe there is a business or organization back in your hometown that you really have fallen in love with over the years and you want to work with them for an internship. We can help you set that up. Same thing in Plattsburgh. Maybe you find a business in Plattsburgh that is exactly what you want to be doing when you graduate. We can help you start that conversation and develop some sort of an internship with them as well. The School of Business and Economics actually has its very own internship coordinator, so those students have an extra boost as well of having their own person to help them coordinate internships. We have some long-standing partnerships with IBM, with Walt Disney. We've had students that have gone on to do internships with Major League Baseball, MLB, National Geographic, CNN. So the sky is really the limit, and we encourage students to take advantage of the wonderful Career Development Center, which I will rave about a little bit more here in a moment, and just all of the opportunities that they have on campus. So the best way to secure yourself an internship or to land that job interview for your dream job later on is to really show that you can be a leader. So we give you lots of different opportunities to really build that leadership skill while you're on campus. And it can be something as simple as being the first person to raise your hand in class when a professor asks a question to really sort of get that conversation going. Maybe you're part of a club or organization and you decide that you want to run for the executive board your junior year. That's going to be a really great way to do that. Getting involved with things like Project Help, which is our community service organization on campus. Maybe you want to get involved with Greek life. We do have 24 recognized Greek life societies on campus, or the Student Association, which Naomi is a part of, kind of like our student government on campus. There are tons of different things that you can do to really sort of hone your leadership skills. Naomi, I'm going to call on you. What are some ways that you've been able to develop as a leader on campus?
Like I talked about, I think one of my biggest roles as a leader was definitely being the leader for, like being in the student association. There was there was an election preceding it, but like when the whole student body participated. So I think it's a pretty leader-intensive role. But another one was also when I helped organize an event that like showcased international students, and it was Night of Nations. I'm pretty sure you both already heard of it. It was, and I was a part of the marketing team there. And then being a freshman and not having a lot of experience, but then also working with all those people, and then like being a leader for like some of the activities, that was really interesting. So I would say like there's a lot of opportunities. Some of them are like very obvious, like there's an election and everything to be a leader. But for the other ones, like they're also like, if you're not a person who likes being in that kind of spotlight, there are also like smaller other ways that you can get involved, that like you really are going to be the type of leader that you want to be, and not like it's not the type of leader that there's a specific restriction of becoming. So I think that's pretty cool.
Awesome, thanks Naomi. So let's talk a little bit about our Study Away program. So there's two sides to the Study Away office that we have here at Plattsburgh. The first is a traditional study abroad program. So one of the great things about the study abroad system here at Plattsburgh is because we're part of the SUNY system, you actually have over 600 locations that you can choose to study away. So that is one of obviously the main portions of designing your study abroad program, is choosing where you want to go. And our department here on campus will really help you figure out what's going to be the best fit for you as well. Then once you figured out where you're going, you're also going to want to figure out when you want to go and how long you want to be there. And they'll help you figure that out as well. You might choose to go for a full semester. Maybe you're going to go over summer break. Maybe you're going to go for a couple of weeks during the semester and then come back. You have a ton of different options. My number one piece of advice for study abroad is, first of all, to talk to the Global Education Office as soon as possible when you think you might want to participate in one of these programs. It takes a lot of planning, but it is well worth it. The second piece of that advice is to take advantage of study abroad. There are very few opportunities that you're going to have in life to drop everything and go to another country for a while. So take advantage of that while it's an option that's very easily laid out for you. The second part of the study away program is called the National Student Exchange rather. So these are actually going to be schools that are within the United States that function similarly to a study abroad program. So there's a couple different reasons that you might want to participate in a program like this. Maybe you know you're going to go to graduate school for a program that Plattsburgh doesn't offer, so you have to find a graduate school to go to once you leave Plattsburgh. You have the opportunity to try that school on for size. If they participate in this program, you can go study there for a semester, see if it's a good fit, and then you'll know that when you come back to campus before you graduate. Another very popular reason is there is a school in Hawaii. Lots of students choose to take off to Hawaii when it's a little chilly in Plattsburgh. That is perfectly fine as well. Maybe you want to go to California, somewhere where it's not snowing. If that's not your deal, that's an option too. You don't have to have any other reason than you want to go and check out another school for a semester through that program. So it's a really great option for students to have. And now I get to brag about the Career Development Center. So this is really your one-stop shop when preparing for just about anything on campus and when you're getting ready for graduation. They do so much for our students, and every single service that you see listed here on the screen and so many more things that they offer are always free for our students to take advantage of. One of the most powerful things I think they do is resume prep and interview prep. So if you are getting ready to apply to an internship or to a job, whether it be on campus or something you want to do after you graduate, they will help you, if you walk in with a blank sheet of paper, build a resume and cover letter from the ground up. They'll also do mock interviews with you. So if you're a little bit nervous for that big interview that's coming up, you come in dressed up like it's the real thing. They will run through typical interview questions with you, just like it's the real deal. And then when it's done, you'll meet with each other and discuss what you did well and what could be improved. That makes the biggest difference in the world when you've got that big job interview coming up. Now, if you're coming in as an undeclared student, one thing that they do that's really fantastic is they give a skills assessment quiz. This will really help you figure out where your strengths lie, what your interests are, what's going to be a good major for you, and then ultimately what the best career option for you based on what you're looking to do is going to be. That helps draw a much clearer path in your mind as to what you need to do for some next steps when you're really not quite sure what you should even be studying on campus. It's one of the really great things about having 70 majors is there's a lot to choose from. So lots of great opportunities with this office. I can't say enough good things about them. I could, but we would run out of time. So let's keep going. So then it's graduation. And sometimes it really does feel like it only takes about 50 minutes and you're ready to graduate from Plattsburgh. So enjoy it while it lasts. As I hope you've seen through the presentation today, Plattsburgh will provide you with all of the resources that you need to be successful, to be challenged, to really become what it is that you want to be by the time that you've graduated. But the biggest difference between high school and college is when you get to SUNY Plattsburgh, it's up to you to advocate for yourself and seek out that extra help and seek out those resources. We're going to be here for you, but you have to learn to kind of be your own voice and ask for that additional assistance if it's needed. If you do that, you're going to join a fabulous bunch of students who are within our 90% of students who have a job within 6 months of graduation that's in their intended field, which is pretty crazy. So before I start to wrap things up with some admissions requirements, we're going to take one more time to really ask some questions to our current students. So if you have any last minute questions that you would like either myself, Dakota, or Naomi to answer, please throw those in the chat and we'll get those answered for you. Looks like I have a couple in here already. So I'll take this one. The question is, at what point do students have to declare a major? So for most of the majors on our campus, you can declare them at any time. The main exceptions to this are going to be nursing or expeditionary studies. Those are more selective programs. The nursing program, you have to enter as a freshman. You can't find yourself in that program later on. In expeditionary studies, you have to enter in during the fall semester. You can't enter in during the spring. So those are the only two programs that really break the rule. any other time, as long as you've declared a major by your sophomore year, you're good to go by the end of your sophomore year. So you've got some time to really figure out what's going to be a good fit. You have some time to change your major. I changed my major 4 times and I still graduated on time. So there's really plenty of time. You've got lots of a cushion to figure out what the best fit for you is going to be. But again, if you're interested in nursing especially, you have to make sure that you're entering into that program freshman year. Let's see what else we've got going on in here. All right. So let's see, Naomi, I'm going to call on you for this one. Where else did you apply and why did you pick SUNY Plattsburgh?
I applied to like around 30 colleges in all United States and around like 10 in New York, a few in Philly. I'm just kind of saying that to give you the general idea of like the numerous amount of places I applied within the vicinity, and what kind of drove my decision to select SUNY Plattsburgh was a few things that were like really important to me at the time, which number one was I wanted to go to a liberal arts college, which means like general education courses like the ones we're taking now. I kind of didn't want everything to be predetermined the first day I went into school. That was a huge factor for me. And another one was like the size of the schools. I visited at a college with like 20,000 students, and I was like, nah, this is not it. And with our college, like 5,000 students, that's kind of the perfect size because I'm an international student. I wasn't gonna drive, and the college I visited, I remember had their students like had to walk like around half an hour, and this one was only, everything was like all the classes was in a 15 minutes walking radius, and the farthest thing that was far away was like the field house where the sports games take place, and that's only like 20 minutes away. So I'm like, this is really, really reasonable. Also, like I really like New York in the end. I love traveling. So being able to like be closer to like places that like are easy to travel to. Plattsburgh has its own airport that made it pretty easy, and then like having Canada on one side and just all these places to travel to made it like even better. So those were some of the definitely determining factors.
Awesome. So I have one more question for Dakota, and then we're going to continue on just to stay on time. So Dakota, a lot of our students are struggling with the fact that they might not be able to see campus before they have to make a decision because of COVID-19. So what is your best piece of advice for those students? What should they be doing since they can't see campus directly?
Yeah, so definitely utilizing opportunities such as this one. Anything that's online, any like online tours or online informational sessions is going to really give you your best picture. Also, just keeping up on like social media with whatever colleges it is you're applying for, even like looking at individual club Instagram pages, it might give you a better idea of what the student's life is like. I actually didn't visit Plattsburgh until orientation for just my own disorganization, I guess. But I really fell in love with it as soon as I did visit, and I hope that that's the same case with a lot of other people. It's a really great, tight-knit community, and yeah, hope, like just using those different things to try to picture yourself on campus.
Awesome. Thanks, Dakota. All right, so we're going to start to wrap things up here with some admissions requirements. So what you see on the screen here, I don't want to scare you. These are what we call our middle 50%. So these are kind of the average numbers of who we're accepting to SUNY Plattsburgh for the vast majority of our majors. Again, there are majors like nursing that have some different requirements, and I'll go over those as well, because I think I saw some people that were interested in nursing here on the call. So for most of the majors on campus, we're looking for students that fall within the 84 to 92 GPA range. That's our middle 50% for GPA. Same thing for SAT. If you're in the 1010 to 1180 range, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. That translates into about a 20 to 26 for ACT. If I have any transfer students here with me today, I'm not sure if I do, but we're going to be looking for a 2.2 to 3.3 GPA from your current college for your transfer into SUNY Plattsburgh. Now, for nursing students specifically, we're going to be looking for a solid A student. 92 to 94 GPA is usually about average. For SAT, somewhere in the 1240 range is about average for us. That translates into about a 25 to a 26 for the ACT. As I mentioned earlier, that program is very competitive, and that's why those numbers are the way that they are. There's going to be an email here at the end. If you have any further questions for me on that, we can connect afterwards and go over all the details there. As you'll all see at the bottom of the screen here too, we do love to give out scholarship money, and who doesn't love to be given scholarship money? So that's going to be primarily based on merit. We're looking at your GPA and your test scores. You don't have to apply for those scholarships. If you apply to SUNY Plattsburgh and you qualify, we're going to award those to you automatically, which is pretty great. So some dates and deadlines to consider. Anyone applying for fall 2020, the official deadline has now passed, but because we are rolling admissions, you still do have the opportunity to submit your application and potentially be accepted to SUNY Plattsburgh. So know that. For any students that are looking to come in next fall, if you are a junior right now, and you're looking to apply for fall 2021, you're going to want to make sure all of your information is submitted to us by December 1st, and then your deposit deadline is going to be the following May 1st. And as Dakota mentioned earlier, staying connected is so very important right now, more than ever before, because of the situation that we're all in with the pandemic. So make sure you're following us and any other colleges that you're interested in on all of the social media. If you're an accepted student, make sure you're joining the accepted student Facebook page, because it's a lot of fun. We get to kind of see what's going on there. It's a great way to connect with a future roommate. If you haven't met someone already, you might meet someone through that Facebook page. That's happened a couple of times already this year. It's a great way to stay connected with your class, even though we can't all be in the same room right now. So I'd highly recommend that you check that out. All right, so we're going to start to wrap things up here. In just a moment, Dakota's going to be leading you on a tour around campus. So I'm going to let him go ahead and start prepping for that. But I'd like to thank all of you for participating in this portion of the event today. It's always great to be able to connect with you, even from my living room, and we all want to be on campus as soon as possible. I know a lot of you have questions as to what fall is going to look like. We do too. Unfortunately, we don't have a solid answer, but we do have on our main homepage a COVID-19 updates tab. Click on that, and that gives you all the same information that I as an employee know. So make sure you're checking back there for any questions that you might have. There might be some answers posted for you. As I mentioned earlier, if you have any additional questions, send them to the admissions@plattsburgh.edu email. You'll find this online as well, just about everywhere. We love questions. So if anything is still kind of puzzling you from today, you can reach out, we can connect and go over that. Right, so we're going to switch gears. Dakota's going to bring you through a virtual tour, but Naomi and I aren't going anywhere. We're going to be in the chat. So if you have questions throughout the tour, still continue to put those into the chat feature, and we will continue to answer those for you. Thank you again so much, and I hope to see you all soon.
Okay, so yeah, everyone should be able to hear me and should be able to see the screen. Welcome to SUNY Plattsburgh, or our virtual tour of SUNY Plattsburgh. As I said in the beginning of the presentation, but I'll sort of rehash that now. My name is Dakota. I'm going into my junior year at Plattsburgh. I am a social work major with a minor in photography, and I'm from Niskayuna, New York, right in the Capital District. So as it was said before, Naomi will still be in the chat and will be answering any questions that you may have throughout the tour. So if you do have any questions, feel free to just enter them directly into the chat. So right here, we are at SUNY Plattsburgh. This is sort of our welcoming sign right along Broad Street. And yeah, let's get on. So this is Hawkins Pond, sort of, I guess, like the biggest landmark on campus. It's a really beautiful space that you'll see students eating, throwing a frisbee, studying around all throughout the, I guess, the nicer months of the semester. But during the winter months, pond freezes over, and you'll actually see some people skating on it or playing pond hockey or really doing whatever. It's there's always people hanging around Hawkins Pond. From here, you can see this is Hawkins Hall, the biggest building and oldest building on campus. It was it was actually the original building when SUNY Plattsburgh was a normal school for teachers in 1889. And it sort of looks like Hogwarts, that's often said. Off in the distance, you can see Red K Hall, which is really the furthest corner of campus. It's where our sociology as well as our anthropology department schools are based out of. On the other side, you can see Hudson Hall. This is our main sciences building. And Ward Hall, sorry, I keep drawing blanks. It's been a while. Ward Hall over here, which is where our social work as well as HDFR and a few other schools are out of. Off in the distance over there would be Sable Hall. All right, moving into Hawkins Hall. This is Glitz Auditorium. It holds 800 people. There is 2 levels to it. You can sort of see. This is actually where our open houses would have been if we were in a normal year. Going into the nursing lab. This is one of the nursing labs on campus. This, as you can see, it's all extremely state of the art. This is a lifelike mannequin. It was mentioned during the presentation. You can draw blood from it. You can do anything you would need to do to an actual person without having to have the pressure of working on an actual person. So it's a really great tool that our nursing students are able to use in learning how to be nurses. And you can see it's a sort of classroom setting. And one nice thing about a lot of our classes are they're sort of on these tiered levels. So it's really easy to see and understand everything going on. Very comfortable too. All right, going downstairs in Hawkins, this is Einstein Bros Bagels. One of our best, in my opinion, one of my favorite dining spots on campus. It's just I guess like a sort of like a bagel place. They also serve coffee and different sorts of drinks like that. There's almost always people studying in here during a regular day, and it's always busy, but one of my favorite places on campus to eat personally. All right, moving over to Sable Hall. Sable Hall is our School of Business and Economics. It offers 12 majors and 11 minors, and it is AACSB accredited, which only 5% of business schools across America or across the world are. Yeah. Going inside Sable, this is the main lobby. Different facilities within Sable Hall include the Bloomberg Financial Trading Lab, the Accounting and Management Information Systems Labs, the Center for Cybersecurity and Technology, and the Graduate Studies Center. This is about as opposite from my major as we get. So I actually have had a class in here though. I had a gen ed class in one of the lecture halls that we are going to be visiting. So it's just, yeah. You'll notice that in Plattsburgh, I've had actually classes in every single building at this point because of our gen eds and how everything sort of works. It's kind of nice to not be in the same building all the time. This is the Finance and Trading Lab. It is primarily used by finance and accounting students. There are 4 Bloomberg terminals with real-time, real-world financial data. Students can take an 8-hour Bloomberg marketing concept training and earn their Bloomberg certification within the economics school. And as you can see, within all of these labs, everything is extremely state-of-the-art and really built to help our students succeed in their respective majors. And this is the type of technology that you would see in the real world stock market and economic side of things. But, yeah. This is the Center for Cybersecurity and Technology. It was opened in 2017. That's another note. Sable Hall is the newest building on campus. It was built within, I think, the last decade or so. And this space specifically is nicknamed the Hackerspace. It's in a collaboration between the MIS department and the Computer Science department. It has outreach programs to local high schools to teach about careers in cybersecurity, which is a growing area of study given the advances in technology that are always happening. Very necessary. It gives you hands-on experience, configuring cyberwalls, malware analysis, and network monitoring. It teaches you to like legally hack and things that are becoming more and more necessary in modern securities. And there are different cybersecurity projects, research, and internship opportunities in collaboration with Dell, Red Hat, and the Twin State Technologies, as well as other technological corporations and businesses. Moving on, this is a lecture hall within Sable Hall. It's actually the exact lecture hall that I had a class in my first semester on campus. It's again, extremely state of the art. It sort of has like a conference type feel. Every station you can sort of see has like these little blocks that you can plug in a laptop, or it has like USB outputs and as well as a microphone. And all the seats are extremely comfortable. They rotate, they lean back, they're cushioned. Extremely nice working space and really easy to stay engaged. You can see for the presenter, you have multiple monitors that could be showing you information and helping you with your lectures or presentations. Looking this way, what we would be looking at, you can see there are, well, you can't see, but there's a projector that will come down. It's extremely clear. And the professor's desk that everything's interlaced and connected. So it's extremely easy to hear and understand everything. A lot of professors in classes like this will actually use microphones too. That'll be played through speakers along the walls and at each space so that you can really hear and understand everything going on, which I found very useful, especially in some of the larger lecture halls. Moving on, we're going in front of Hudson Hall. Hudson Hall is the main building for our biomedical sciences, medical technology, robotics, and more, with 50+ STEM majors and minors. They have internship partnerships with Champlain Valley Physicians. I cannot talk today. Physicians Hospitals, the University of Vermont Health Network, the Minor Institute, as mentioned before, and many more. 94% of our biology alumni and 100% of our chemistry and physics alumni were employed in graduate school or serving in the military within 6 months of graduation, which is amazing, especially like that's one of the main things that you want to, that many people are worried about is job placement, and that's not an issue here at all. Moving in, we're going to be looking at the anatomy and physiology lab. This is, again, just like in Sable Hall, everything is extremely state-of-the-art and up-to-date technologically. This is a common space and class that our nursing students as well as our biology students would be taking. And additional labs in Hudson Hall include 30,000 square feet of chemistry labs, a robotics lab, molecular biology labs, and many more. There's really just so many different labs and rooms that we could go into that could be their own tours, honestly. This is the sort of the connecting bridge from the side of campus that we've been on, which is on the right side of Broad Street here. I guess direction depends on which way you're looking, but beyond this building is where Hudson Hall was, the Hawkins Pond, as well as everything that we've looked at. And this is sort of the more academic side of campus, and we're going to be moving towards, I guess, the more residential. While there are still academic halls, this is also where all the residence halls and most of the dining halls on campus lie. So just to give you a little bit of perspective in Plattsburgh, if you were to go down Broad Street here, this is what would lead to like Lake Champlain and downtown Plattsburgh, which is where, like, as we talked about, all the nice, like, I guess the small town type businesses with like your shops and restaurants would be. And if you were to go up Broad Street, this would lead to the more commercial section of town near the Target, the Walmart, the Price Chopper, etc. Just to sort of give you a little bit of perspective as to which way we're moving. All right, moving towards, this is the exterior of Yoakum as well as Feinberg. Yeah, so this is right here is Yoakum Hall. This is our communications and sciences building and where we will be moving soon. This right here is Feinberg Library. This is our library as well as what we'll be moving towards soon. This is Myers Fine Arts Building, the arts building on campus that has many different majors. And then right here is Kehoe Hall. And one thing I always like to point out on our tours, just a fun little fact that I know, this building, Kehoe Hall, is actually taller than the tallest building in all of Vermont, which I just, it's just a funny fact that I always think is fun to mention. Moving into Yoakum Hall, which I mentioned is our communications studies building. This is our communications studio. So as you can see, as has been the common theme on the tour, everything is like completely state-of-the-art and as professional as you can get. This is the TV studio. It was recently renovated with a $3 million renovation with a new, as I said, a new TV studio. You can see the set here, as well as everything behind the scenes, all the computers and speakers and everything that you would need to make sure the image and everything is correct, is good. The student operated PSTV and WARP radio station broadcast to over 18,000 households in and around Plattsburgh. And there are many clubs and opportunities for students in and out of the major to get involved with that, as Naomi said that she was within her first semester here. There are classes that are in high demand, like digital animation, television studio production, social media, and drone training. And we have recent graduates that have worked at MTV, iHeartMedia, Showtime, NBC, and Peloton, as well as many other businesses. So it really gives you the opportunity to go anywhere that you would want to go and seek out those careers that in broadcasting. Moving on, we're going to look at lecture hall. This is the largest lecture hall in Yoakum. This would be more for like I guess like a presentation. Orientation usually has classes in here, but I would say almost every, if not every student on campus will have at least one class in Yoakum, whether it's like a Psych 101 or intro biology class, something along those lines. None of our classes ever exceed 60 students, and I've never had one that exceeded even like 50, and that's your most basic Psych 101. So you'll never have a class where something like this would even get half filled, but it's still a space that we have if we have events that would require it. For instance, the only time I've ever had this in an actual class or used this room in an actual class was just for like a stats test where everyone was taking the same test. But even if there are a lot of people, it's always really easy to hear everything going on. You can see the large speakers on each wall, as well as this sort of amphitheater effect that they've built. I don't know anything about acoustics, but there's a bunch of little holes drilled in the wall, and I'm sure that helps sound travel because I've never had an issue hearing anything in these rooms. And I feel like I'm deaf half the time. So moving on, we're going to go towards Feinberg Library. So this is the second floor of Feinberg, sort of, I'd say the most general area of Feinberg where the most students will be congregating. One thing that I always like to talk about in Feinberg is the diverse situations for people to learn. Whether you're a quiet learner and you need like to be shut away from everything, or you want to work at a table, there's always options for you. So here you can see we have like these like sort of like dividers that each of these has like a plug, so you can plug in your laptop and really shut yourself away. We have open desks, thousands and thousands and thousands of books. And then along this wall back here, you can see little doors. And within each of these doors is just like a desk, 2 chairs, and a window, as well as like any plugs or anything you can need like that. And you can rent those out and shut yourself away and pull down the blind and just really focus on your work for whatever it is that you need. Those are extremely useful, especially during finals week. It's really hard to, you can actually rent them online during finals week, so you don't have to fight for them, as they're highly sought after. There's actually also a deep quiet space on the second floor where basically like you're not even allowed to use a laptop in there because the clicking of keys would be too loud. So that's really for students who need like absolute dead silence. And we're here to offer that for you guys. Moving on, we're going to go downstairs into the computer lab. This is the computer lab. It's equipped with over 120 computers, mostly PCs, but you can also see that there are Macs. I believe over against the wall over here, it's hard to see, but there are PCs and Macs within it. There are 7 printers that are clearly labeled, which is really nice because you don't have to run around looking for which printer your stuff was printed to. It's really easy to find wherever it is you need to go. And students are given 500 free prints each semester, which is more than most students will ever use, I guess, unless you're like an English major and need to print a book. But in the event that you do run out, I believe it's very inexpensive for 100 more prints. So that's not something that really gets worried about too often. Again, just like upstairs, there are spaces for like individual learners as well as group learning, and really whatever style of learning that it is you're looking for, it is that you're most efficient in. And yeah, just different sort of spaces. The library, both upstairs and downstairs, is usually open 12 to 16 hours per day. It sort of varies based on the day. There's clearly labeled like calendars all over the place and schedules all over the place. But during finals week, the library in its entirety upstairs and downstairs is open 24/7, which is great for when you need a good 2 a.m. study session during finals week. Moving on, we're going to go towards the Learning Center. The Learning Center offers free in-person as well as online peer tutoring for over 100 courses. Math and writing and more general courses usually offer walk-ins, and all the peer tutors have been recommended by professors and have earned a B or higher in each course. And you also personally can become a tutor on campus and help your other students if you feel you did really well in a certain area. Next to this, I don't know if there's, so right next to the Learning Center is the Academic Advising Office. This is where your academic advisor is going to be if you decide to come in undeclared, and they're going to help you build your schedule around whatever it is you have interests in. So it sort of help you pinpoint what it is you want to major in within the first couple of semesters of being on campus. It's also where you want to go if you ever are thinking about changing or adding a major or changing or adding a minor. So when I wanted to add my minor, I went in there and asked them where it is I needed to go, and they pointed me in the exact direction I needed to go and got me right there on the path to adding a minor, which was extremely useful because that could be extremely difficult if you don't know where you're going. So here we are right outside of the Angel College Center. This is another sort of hub on campus that you'll see people congregating in a lot. Right there is the ACC, or like I said, the Angel College Center, sort of the campus, center of campus on campus. I just said campus 4 times. The sort of like student, yeah. Across from that is Myers Fine Arts Center, and then across the street is the I'm drawing a blank. It's Memorial Hall, which is our on-campus athletic center. There's another athletic center a little bit down the street, which is the field house, which we'll be going to a little bit later. So moving on, we're going to go into the ACC. Oh, so this is the courtyard for the ACC. Is sort of a different, the opposite side of where we were before. You can see the Sundowner, which is one of our main dining options on campus. And this is another great place for students to sort of, eat lunch, be studying. You'll always see students out here. Right over here is the WQKE, the radio station. And yeah, so I thought that there was a slide, but within the ACC, more things that are centered out of it include the Center for Student Involvement, the fraternity and sorority life offices, the student association offices, as well as the Hub, which is our Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And one of the newest parts of our campus that was just built and finished, I believe, during the fall semester. And it's a really great space that our Title IX office is based out of. Oh, we are going to go inside. So this is Subway and Griddles, 2 more dining options on campus, as well as this cafe area. There's actually a weekly open mic that is takes place right here every Wednesday night, I believe. That's always something that a lot of students go to if you're looking for music. Griddles is best known for their breakfast food, although halfway through the day they switch to Sono, which is more like Latin American cuisine, like burritos, taco bowls, quesadillas, and there's always things coming in and out of here in that space. And then Subway is Subway. It's probably my favorite place to eat on campus, if we're being honest. I eat way too much Subway while I'm on campus. Moving on, we're going to go towards the Sundowner, which I pointed out when we were in the courtyard. The Sundowner is one of, I'd say, of the all dining options on campus, it's one of the 2 biggest. There are many different options. You can see there's Asian cuisine, there's pizza, we have like a grill and like comfort foods like burgers and poutine. There's a vegan and vegetarian section that always makes like very good vegan or vegetarian options that may not be at other places. There's a Halal Shack, which is one of the most popular choices semester after semester since it's been around. And then there's a salad bar, which will make like any sort of Caesar salad or any salad you could really think of. And then You can see just, your typical drinks, coffees, everything along with that. The nice thing about the ACC is it's open pretty late every night. Sunday through Thursday, it's open until midnight. And then on Friday and Saturday night, it's open until 1 a.m. So if you're really looking for that late night snack, this is going to be where you're going to want to go, because it's going to be open, which I found extremely useful. I know a lot of other colleges that have their latest dining options closing as early as like 9 p.m. or so. Moving on to Campus Express, just right outside of the Sundowner, which is right over here. Campus Express is sort of your Cumberland Farms style place on campus. If you need anything from like snacks and food and like ramen noodles or something like that, they have it here. As well as like basic needs that you might not be able to get. Maybe the campus store is closed or something like that, and you really need like pencils or stuff. They usually have those types of options, as well as medicines, deodorants, and stuff if you're not able to get out to Walmart. And those are all right there. And the Campus Express actually has its own currency on campus. They have Express dollars, which is also part of the freshman meal plan that all freshmen have on campus. Yeah, and this is open every day while college is in session. So over here, also in the ACC, you can see the courtyard where we were earlier. This is the information and help desk. It's completely student run and a very large student job on campus. I personally know a lot of people that work there. They'll sell tickets on campus to any sort of events that are going on at Myers or similar things. They'll give you sort of general information about campus. If you have any questions, they usually know the answer. They'll give you movie passes and seasonal ski passes. So if there's deals in the community, like through Whiteface Mountain or maybe Regal Cinemas having a deal for students, they'll be there that you can get those. And yeah, and this is, like I mentioned when we were outside, this is the most recently renovated part of campus. Right here is the hub, which we'll move into soon, and then as well as completely new bathrooms. Clicking over here, you can see, this is the Career Development Center, which was talked about during the presentation. One thing that I think is underutilized about that is the resume building. I actually went there my first semester when I was just looking, or my second semester, my first spring semester, I was looking for a summer job and I needed to write a cover letter. So I actually went in and they sort of gave me like a back and forth and sort of things to mention, things to not mention, and really helped me shape that and helped me get the job for the summer working in a school in Schenectady. So that was very useful and something that I would highly recommend other students utilize. This is the community hub. As I mentioned when we were outside, it's the Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. It is open to all students, faculty, staff, alumni, and community members. The hub stands for honoring, uniting, and building. It's a brave space, which is what they call it, a brave space, for engaging in challenging conversation through programming and outreach initiatives and building a more inclusive environment. It's the Center for our Title IX and Violence Prevention Offices, I believe, over in this section. And it's also the Center for Radius, our student, faculty, and staff run LGBTQIA+ inclusion resource for individuals across the gender and sexuality spectrum. So this is a really great space, whether you're just looking to learn, looking to eat lunch, a lot of clubs will have their meetings here, and it's a really nice area, as you can see. Moving on, we're going to go towards Flint Commons, more commonly known as the Blue Room. This is upstairs in the ACC. It's where our Tim Hortons is, and it's just one of the largest, I guess, open spaces on campus. You'll always see people meeting here for lunch, studying here, all that. It was, this mural along this wall was actually recently redesigned. I don't even know if it was open before we left, so I'm excited to see it when we come back. But it's also used as an event space, event space on campus. Excuse me. Moving across the street to the campus store. This is the campus bookstore. Along past this glass wall is where all the books that you'll need on campus are being sold. You can also utilize online resources such as Chegg or Amazon Books, but I think just about any time you need a book, it's for sale or for rent in the campus store, which is extremely useful because it's right there on campus and you don't have to worry too much about returning it or mailing it back and stuff like that. They also sell Plattsburgh apparel, whether you want typical or like there's like Nike and sports stuff and really anything you could need or really want for that representing Plattsburgh. And then over here, you have a lot of supplies from your just like more typical pencils and pens and papers and binders to more individualistic. So for instance, in my photography classes, I needed like processing paper and like film and stuff like that. And they have things specifically for classes. They talk to professors and professors can order stuff to the store. So that's really something that's useful and convenient because you don't have to be looking online or going to random stores looking for your supplies. Moving on, we're going to go to the outside of Memorial Hall. As I mentioned, this is the on-campus athletic facility. It's right across the street from Myers as well as Kehoe. It's home to the fitness and wellness leadership major, and it is currently undergoing a renovation. But the nice thing about the renovation is nothing's actually being closed while we're there. So we'll always have the fitness center as well as the basketball courts and the rock wall and everything. They're sort of doing it section by section so that it avoids any conflicts. This is the gym. This is where all of the men's and women's basketball games as well as women's volleyball games will be taking place. When it's not being used by teams for practice, it is open to student use. People will be playing basketball in here. There'll be other events in here like dodgeball sometimes, or maybe just different events being put on by different clubs. And it's very, very nice. It gets very packed during those games. As well as all of that, we will be moving on to the fitness center. The fitness center is downstairs. As you can see, I mean, it has anything that you would expect in a typical gym. There's cardio machines, there's free weights up against this wall. There's aerobic and group activity rooms. You'll always see like postings for yoga clubs, Zumba clubs, spin classes, anything you can imagine as far as like fitness and that sort of thing. They're all student run for the most part, and they're very, very popular to be attended. They're also all free for students to attend. And you'll see those posted on schedules throughout the fitness center. You can see it's extremely large and very convenient. And right outside this door, there are racquetball courts. And one very nice perk that we also have is free personal training for all students. And you can just sign up for that at the desk and they'll get you hooked up with a personal trainer, and who doesn't want a free personal trainer? Moving on to our rock climbing wall. This is an 1,800 square foot rock climbing wall. Any student is able to be trained and utilize this room. Having an expeditionary studies major, I think they use this a lot. And I know a lot of people that will come here and really like rock climbing, and they just happen to have a rock climbing wall. So it's definitely convenient for student use. Moving on to behind Memorial Field, or behind Memorial Hall is Memorial Field. This is where you'll see a lot of intramural sports. You'll see people playing soccer back here. We'll have different events back here. There's beach volleyball. This hill is my favorite event on campus personally. Every winter is the Rail Jam. If there's not snow on campus yet, they'll truck in snow from Whiteface Mountain, and they will lay this out, and it's like a little ski slope. They'll have ramps and rails and jumps, and hundreds of students will come out. They do it at night with they bring in gas powered lights and generated lights. And it's just a really great time. It's a fun seeing people do things that I could never in a million years do. Down along this way is the Ausable River. You can see a high up version here with our basketball courts, which are over behind Mason Hall. And yeah, it's a very beautiful space that people are always hanging around. People will kayak here, not kayak, hammock. That's the word I was looking for. You'll see people fly fishing in the river. People eat lunch, and Another big event every year is on Alumni Weekend. They'll have a big bonfire out in this field, and people will be playing music and having a great time. And it's definitely one of the biggest like community sections of campus. We also have tennis courts off in the distance over there. All right, moving on to the field house. So the field house is about half a mile from campus, just on the other side of the high school. This is our turf field. This is where these both men's and women's soccer teams, as well as men's and women's lacrosse team plays. We have, so as it was mentioned before, we have 18 Division III NCAA sports teams, and most of them take place in and around the field house. So it's definitely a place that you'll get to visit on campus, and definitely exciting stuff that goes on in and around here. Off in the woods over here, there's the baseball and softball fields too. They're extremely like tucked away. Like I know students that didn't even know that they were there because you have to like go down a long path, but it's really beautiful facilities. Inside the field house now, this is the Ronald B. Stafford Ice Arena. This is home to our college hockey team, or our Plattsburgh hockey teams, obviously. And this is a space that I'm almost positive every student goes to at least once. Whether or not you're a hockey fan, coming in, a lot of students will become one because they're the most intense sport on campus. Definitely get the loudest and definitely have the best results, as you can see from national championship banner to national championship banner. And there's 4 more over there. And right now we have one hanging in the rafters because we won it last year. We probably would have won it again this year if the pandemic didn't happen. So it's definitely a great place to visit, and checking out Cardinal hockey is almost a must. Moving on to Res Life. This is supposed to be the, oh, there it is. All right, the exterior of Whiteface Hall. This is one of our most recently renovated halls on campus. It's also a student housing, freshman housing, excuse me. As well as Moffett and Wilson halls, which are more off into the distance. You can see University Police is right across the street behind, I'm drawing a blank, Macomb Hall, excuse me. And then right directly across the street is Kent Hall, which has been renovated this year and will be open next year for upperclassmen students. As most SUNYs do, SUNY Plattsburgh has the red light system, or the blue light system, excuse me. And we usually say, like, from anywhere on campus, you can see at least one of these blue lights, which is right here. If you're ever walking and you don't feel safe or you feel like something's happening, if you press the button on this, you'll immediately be connected to University Police. And within seconds, an officer will be brought to your location, and they can make sure that everything is okay and help you with whatever it is that you need. You can look inside of the rec center in Whiteface Hall. This is the downstairs and sort of upstairs rec center they have. There you have pool tables, pianos, TVs, and other sort of recreation. And then this is the other side with a ping pong table and more TVs and more desks. And it's a really nice and recently renovated space. It's super clean, and I'm jealous of those freshmen that got to live here. We're going to be moving inside of a dorm now. This is obviously one of the big highlights that people want to see when they come to visit. The dorms are really yours to do with what you will. There are certain things that you can't have. Really anything that that produces heat. There's no microwaves, no like hot plates. You are allowed to have a Keurig, but other than that, for the most part, there's certain restrictions on like power strips. It just needs to have an on-off switch, and those are all just for fire safety reasons. You don't want to be the person that sets off the fire alarm, because everyone knows who it'll be eventually, and that's just if everybody had a microwave, there would be so much burnt popcorn that we would never sleep. So but every floor will have a microwave as well as an oven, so it's not that far away. It's very easy to have access to, and you are of course allowed to have mini fridges in your room, and just about every room does. One of the nicest things about freshman housing is that it's built to sort of introduce you to campus and get you guys doing stuff together. So your CA will be organizing events around, and really like your floor mates and your suite mates honestly become some of your best friends in a lot of cases. So it's really great to sort of have that initial connection. This is just another example of a suite style dorm. This looks like, I think, Hood Hall, but I can't say for sure. But yeah, they're really, as you can see with this, like you're allowed to put up tapestries, you can have lights, you can have curtains. There really isn't too much limitation. They'll go more into depth with you about what you can and can't have, but they're very customizable, and really they want you to make that space what you're comfortable in, because it's going to be where you're spending most of your time ultimately between sleep and everything. Okay, so moving on. This is the white face bathrooms. This is one of our most common questions when you come to visit too. In all of our recently renovated buildings, we have more of these like styled of bathrooms called pods, where you go inside and you have your own shower, you have a toilet, and you sort of can close the door and lock it. So there's more of that privacy. And then you have, like, again, of course, your typical sinks and such situations. Certain styles of housing have slightly different bathrooms, but as we renovate more and more, they're becoming cleaner and nicer. And I think just about every dorm on campus at this point has renovated bathrooms. Just make sure. Yeah. This is what the floor lounge. Oh, this is inside of the bathroom. As you can see, a little better space here. You have the shower and then everything there. So moving out into the lounge space, this is a white face lounge. Excuse me, it's my voice is extremely dry right now. And this, you have a beautiful view up here. It looks like they've taken the furniture out of the room for this, but usually there would be a couple of couches and tables and all of that. Oh yeah, this is what it would look like, more furnished with everything. It's a really comfortable space. A lot of people end up doing a lot of their studying in these spaces. One thing that I'm just gonna note is I think everybody has different situations that they work best in. Some people can work really well in their dorms. I can't. I get distracted by any fly on the wall or anything like that. So I personally go to the library, but some people are able to work in the lounge, or be able to work in their dorms. They're able to work in like outside or something like that. So I would just recommend trying everything and seeing what works best for you. Anyway, moving on, this is what the kitchen of Whiteface looks like. You can see there's the oven, there's a mini fridge within the kitchen space, there's cabinet space, there's microwaves. Really anything that you could need on hand is going to be there. And really in any building that we have. This is just another look at the shared space, the corridors. Yeah. And then here we have the study space. So along with the lounge space, we do have a study space that's more sectioned off and closed off, and you can sort of have a little bit more quiet. So moving on, we will be looking outside of Macomb Hall, sort of just moving on down the street. You can see we were just over there outside that. ACC is over here. And then moving towards Macomb, this is sort of what a Macomb lounge looks like. Macomb's upper level upperclassmen. So if you're a transfer student, this might be something more of what you're looking like. But for the most part, the dorms look pretty similar. They have more or less the same amenities. They might vary slightly based on dorms, but as we complete these renovations, they're becoming more and more the same. This is what the laundry might look like in Macomb. These are actually connected to an app that we have, so you can go onto this and see whether or not there's a washing and drying machine open, and washing and drying is included in the price of admission, so you don't have to worry about having quarters or anything like that, which is just another extremely convenient thing that a lot of people often worry about. All right, moving over to Clinton Hall. This is sort of the other side of campus. We were just more over there. These are more dorm buildings. That's Hood Hall. This is the Fredenberg Hall. Right here is Moffett, which is going to be another freshman housing building next year. And then behind here is Wilson, which is also another freshman housing. But we're going to move into Clinton Hall, which is, I would say, arguably the biggest dining hall on campus. It was also very recently renovated in 2018. And all freshmen on campus, one thing just to note about is all freshmen have the same meal plan. It's has unlimited meal swipes at Clinton, as well as Einstein or Little Owl's, which is a sub place on campus, sort of in between a couple of the dorms. And it also has a limited dining dollars per week, meal swipes per week, and other things, just to kind of let you figure out how you're going to use your meal plans for when you choose a more specific meal plan higher up in your time here. So this is a look inside of Clinton. You can see similar to the downer, but slightly different. They have many different styles. So right here they have like pasta bowls. There's pizza over here. There's a Mongolian grill along the back wall. There's like a sort of like fried food type grill over there. And then right here is the substation. The way that this works is we have a kiosk system. So you can see them sort of over here. They're sort of behind the pillars, but they're like touch screen. And you choose whether you want the Mongolian grill or you want pasta or you want pizza, anything there. And then it'll brings you through your order, similar to if you go to like a McDonald's now, and it'll print you out a receipt and give you a number, and then your number will come up on a screen, and then you know when it's ready. So it's very convenient, and once you swipe in, you can eat until you leave. So it's not like you pay per receipt. It's just to confirm your order. Moving over to the other side of the staircase, this is the seating in Clinton Hall. It's very open. There's a lot of seating. It goes all the way around. Again, just like every other situation on campus, we have seating for whoever, like whatever situation you're in. We have more like individual seating. We have tables, we have couches, we have booths, really everything to whatever is the most comfortable for each student. So dry. Okay, we're going to be moving on to Myers here, closing out very soon. As I mentioned before, Myers is our art building. It is home to the art, music, and theater departments. With we have 40 plus music and theater performances each semester. We're going to be looking at the student gallery. So this is right when you walk into Myers. It's a very open, very big gallery that is all student work, and it's extremely nice to be able to see. I've spent a lot of time just kind of looking and browsing and respecting the work. I guess there's always more that you see. Like I feel like every time I go in, I notice different paintings and such that I might have missed before. Other parts of Myers, there's an MIDI audio recording lab, which is like MIDI is usually what it's called, like recording music and becoming like and producing music and such. There's a graphic design digital lab with all Mac computers, which is usually preferred by people using art platforms. There are drawing and painting studios. There's a photography studio, including dark work and a lighting studio, or dark room and a lighting studio. There's a ceramic studio, book art studio, sculpture studios, including a foundry, welding room, and wood shop. So there's really so many different sections of Myers to explore, and I highly recommend, if you have any interest in the arts, to take a class within it. You're usually going to have many opportunities to with sort of like your gen ed requirements, so might as well make the best out of it and explore areas that you're interested in, and maybe you'll end up adding a minor, which is sort of what happened to me. Moving up or over to the Hartman Theater. This is the other big theater on campus. This one's more built for like plays and shows, as you can see with the set. It has all of like the wires and pulleys that any theater will have. And there will often be students' performances on this stage. Like there'll be plays throughout the semester. Some are student run, some are like class run. And yeah, there's all the things that the theater students would know about as well. They learn not only how to prefer, but also how to run all the designs. So you'll learn how to build a background, how to utilize lighting, and how to work all of the pulleys and everything to sort of get that stage effect. All right, so this is really the end of the tour. If there's any questions that haven't been answered, hopefully Naomi is still answering questions and such. Thank you for joining us on our virtual tour this afternoon. Yeah, I guess I will go back to the, sorry, I'm completely forgetting how to do that. Cool. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for coming and showing up to this session. Think it's really important to keep utilizing these, and yeah, if there's any last minute questions, we'll be here to answer, but otherwise have a great day and thank you very much.